loud as I can. So as she said, my name is Dama, and I'm from So Delicious Cafe, which is a holistic cafe in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And what we actually provide for the community is a resource for the community that's trying to transition to veganism or to a healthier lifestyle. So not only do we have the cafe, it's also we have fitness classes, so yoga, Zumba, all types of fitness classes, as well as a massage area where we also do a full line of massage. So it's actually kind of a cool place. I was a little crazy for doing 3 businesses in one, but it's okay. So I am, as she said, I'm a plant-based nutritionist. I'm also a raw food chef. I am not the chef at my cafe. I've actually been blessed enough to have 2 cordon bleu chefs, and as well as a pastry chef. So I don't do any of the cooking. They do everything. I actually teach Zumba, but other than that, I don't do anything else at the cafe. So I also have a 2-year-old daughter who's going on 20, who's also 100% vegan. And my husband, Lamar, who's also a co-owner here, who's going to be assisting. And I also do some internet marketing, some internet blogging. We own a franchise in Milwaukee. What else do we do? Oh gosh. I'm an author. What else am I? I don't know. I feel like I'm a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats. So today I'm going to talk about vegan made easy. So I'm going to show you 3 vegan recipes in 45 minutes. So if I can do this in 45 minutes, this is just giving you some examples of what you can do for your week and giving you some tips as I go through and show you. So first of all, you want to make sure that you're planning your week. That's what I find to be easiest. I've been vegan for the last 5 years, vegetarian for 20 years. So it was it's a natural progression. So as you know, if you're vegetarian, usually you go vegan, then you go raw, or you add more raw, it's crazy. So today, since I'm a raw food chef, I am going to do a few things. One thing that's raw, I'm going to show you what we do at the cafe, which is a coconut yogurt parfait, which Abby and Ashlyn are going to actually pass out samples of that. And I'm also going to do a smoky kale salad, which a kale salad you can do in a number of ways. So I prepared one before we got here, and then I'll prepare one here on stage, just to show you the variations with the kale salad. And then I've also made a not chicken Alfredo. So I'll give you some different ideas. So first of all, like I said, you want to make sure that you're preparing and planning your week if you're going to be successful at being vegan, or if you're going to do any lifestyle where you're looking at being healthier. So normally what I do is I plan my week and I say, okay, here's what I'm going to have for the week. I go to the farmer's market. That's going to be your cheapest way, especially right now. It's great outside. So we have great farmer's markets. Make sure you're stocking up on everything that you need for the fall. So you can freeze stuff, prepare stuff so that you have it ready and available for you this fall. And you're not having to go out and pay a lot of money for produce. So that's a way to save some money. One other thing you want to do, what I did yesterday to prepare for this is I chopped up all of my fruit. And with veganism, vegetarianism, and raw food, what you really are looking for is the layering of flavors. So at the cafe, that's one of the things we do. We're really huge on layering our flavors. Because people think vegan food is not tasty, right? So you want to make sure that you're really layering. So what I've done was I've actually marinated the blueberries, the raspberries, and the pineapple overnight with some lemon juice and some agave, just to bring out the flavor in the fruits. And then I used a So Delicious vanilla coconut yogurt for the base. And this is pretty much what you would get at the cafe, and it's been topped with some granola. That's pretty easy for breakfast. So that's just one simple, easy, quick, fast, not so calorie-driven breakfast. One other option would be doing a smoothie. Smoothies are nice, especially right now. Green smoothies are awesome. And you can also do what I like to do elixirs. I'm really big on Chinese herbs and Indian herbs, so I do a lot of elixirs in the morning, and I actually use a tea base. A nettle tea or a green tea or some type of a dandelion, something really healthy, and I use that as my base. I'll steep it overnight and infuse it, and then in the morning, I'll use that as my tea base along with all of my Chinese herbs. I'll add a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of bananas, so it tastes really, really, really good. But I'm getting a lot of good nutrition, so that's another way, another breakfast idea that's fast and easy and simple. So that's breakfast. And we're going to keep this really, really, really informal. So if you all have questions at all, anytime during this presentation, please raise your hand. This is going to be very informal. I really don't have a formal talk per se for this particular course because this really isn't I don't do a whole lot of vegan cooking at the cafe. I cook at home, but I'm really a raw food chef. So with the elixir, I start with the tea base, and then I add in whatever superfoods I want to add in. So it could be moringa, it could be spirulina, it could be maca, lucuma, mesquite, camel, shilajit. I add all those powders in, and then I go ahead and I add maybe a frozen banana. And then I add, or if you want it to be hot, in the winter I do it hot, so I don't add anything cold. So then I'll add maybe some spinach, I'll add some chia seeds, and it's almost like the texture of a smoothie, but it's warm. And I blend it.
Oh, hell nice.
So that's one good idea. So the other thing with being vegan and or vegetarian or raw or whatever path you're on, you also want to make sure that you have good kitchen tools. That is going to be the key to success. That's going to save you a lot of time. Sharp knives, big bowls, a really good blender, Vitamix or Blendtec. I have both. You also want to make sure you have a food processor. Processor is really nice. I'm just going to grab some kale for our next new demo. And so I told one of my employees to prep some kale for me yesterday. I'm like, can you prep all this kale for me? And he came back with this whole bit of kale prep. So now I'm going to make a kale salad. And for me, because I'm a raw food chef, I don't really do any measuring. So I apologize for not having recipes for you all because I don't know measurements. I go strictly by taste and feel. It's all about the love you put in the food, so I don't really like to be stressed when I'm cooking. I like to be stress-free. So with the kale salad, again, like I said, it can be done a number of ways. And they're gonna, do you want to start just putting some on some plates? That will be done a number of ways. Today I'm going to do what I call a smoky kale salad. And I start with kale, Himalayan salt. You want to make sure you're using a good salt also. No Morton's or the Umbrella Lady, as I call her. She is not a good salt. A little bit of olive oil, and I try to do a clear bowl so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. Normally I would do it in this. This is what I did it yesterday or earlier this morning when I prepared it. And I like to get in there with my hands and just mush it up. And what you'll find with kale is it breaks down really easy. Salt, you don't even really need oil if you're doing something oil-free or you're on a plan, if you have heart disease or you're trying to reverse something. You don't have to add the fat. The fat gives you really good flavor, obviously. But kale breaks down really easily and has a really nice texture with just salt. And as long as you're massaging it in, you're going to get, it's going to almost look cooked even though it's not cooked. And again, this is a lunch idea. And normally, I'm doing this backwards from how I would normally do it. I'm just adding a little bit of lemon juice. And again, you need a good kitchen tool. Normally, I would have my heaviest meal in the middle of the day. So I do an elixir or smoothie or a coconut parfait for breakfast. And in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I'd have my heavier meal. And then at night, I'd have like my kale salad or my soup for the day. And that's normally how I do it, especially if I'm in what I call wake and we smoke. How's the coconut parfait? And that's super easy, guys. That's so easy to do. And again, if you want to do your own coconut yogurt, that's super easy to do as well. You just take the meat from a young coconut and blend it with the coconut water, and then you just put a probiotic in there and sit it on the counter, and now it's great because it's warm, right? Put it in a dark cabinet in a mason jar with a cheesecloth and let it ferment, and you have your own coconut yogurt. That's the easy, cheap way to do it instead of going out and buying a yogurt maker. So to get the meat out of the coconut, that's another class. So to get the meat out of the coconut, you just use a spoon. Or what really works well is the watermelon ringy thingies. It's all tools. The watermelon is round and they have different sizes. I don't even know what you call it. It's a scooper thingies. Yeah. There you go. That works. That's what I use. All about the tools.
What is the red stuff that you just put in?
I just added red bell pepper and green onions to this as well. And then I add my seasonings. So I'm not a love girl, but it's the right thing to do. I like to get the love in there. So I add a little garlic powder. And I'm going to actually add some nutritional yeast. And this is actually what you'll have there. I'm going to try and mirror what I did there exactly. Try to remember off the top of my head. Plum vinegar, which is awesome for salads. I use a little bit of that.
Can you name of that vinegar?
Plum. U-M-E, plum. substitute for the nutritional yeast. You could do pine nuts if you wanted to grind up some pine nuts, if you wanted that cheesy flavor. Or if you wanted to do some sea vegetables like some kelp or some dulse, you could also do that. But pine nuts would be what I would use in replacement of the nutritional yeast. I'm going to actually add a little bit of liquid smoke, and that's what's going to give you the bacony flavor without the bacon.
What is
Liquid smoke is water, mesquite smoke flavor, vinegar, molasses. That's pretty much it. Very simple ingredient. But I guess it's what gives. I use it a lot in vegan cooking because we don't have a lot of that smoky flavor. And so if you're used to barbecue or you're used to grilling, so I usually marinate anything that I'm doing. So if I'm doing like some brats or some hot dogs or something like that, anything that you want where you're missing that smoked bacon, I use it a lot in coconut bacon recipes. It gives it that smoky flavor that you miss from not being vegan. Or being vegan, not being vegan, I should say. And I actually going to add some olives, and I also had, there's some sun-dried tomatoes also in the kale salad. And again, all about the love and your thoughts and your intentions when you're cooking. So I usually try to keep a really clear mind, which again is why I don't get bogged down in recipes. It's funny because at the cafe, I'll make the hummus and they'll be like, well, what did you put in it? I can give you what I put in it. I can't tell you how much. So normally, one of the girls will come back and watch me and they'll measure out and do the recipe for me because I'm like, I have no idea. So. So how many vegans are here? Awesome! How many transitioners? On the bench? Trying to get there? Cool. It's a journey. I tell everybody, it is really a journey. There's no easy way to become vegan, right? It's not one of those things. Some people can do it overnight. For me, it wasn't an overnight thing. I went vegetarian. And actually I gave up beef first, and then I did pork then beef. So it's kind of a natural progression for me to go vegan. And usually in the summer, I'm a little more on the raw side. I usually do about 80% raw in the summer. And so that is become salad. I added some sun-dried tomatoes and I added some olives, both green. And did I add some calamansi? I don't think I did. There are in that salad. And I mean, it's just a really quick, it doesn't really take a whole lot of thinking. It just depends on what you're feeling. So usually I'll make this and I just pull stuff, whatever's in the cupboard, I just pull it out and grab whatever I want to put in it. Normally I will add some spike. I didn't add spike to this. Spike and herbal are my secret ingredients. So you now have them. This is what I use for everything. Herbamar. Herbamare. You're welcome.
I mean, you're using it for seasoning and salt and substitute, correct? What is the difference between the two?
These have flavors already in them. These already have herbs and vegetables in. So you don't have to do, I mean, this is, if I was to make my daughter some, what she calls chicken nuggets, I just sprinkle a little bit of this on there and throw them in the toaster oven.
Do you use the spike?
I use the spike when I'm doing like something like this in my soups, in my hummus, mostly in, I would say, most of my cooking pudding. If I'm doing a quick tofu burger or something, then I would use just a little more. This I use every day. This I use when I'm really cooking. Like if I'm in the kitchen getting down, this is what I use. All right. So any questions at all? How is the kale salad? Awesome. What's that? Yes.
So you just kind of like put in what you want?
Yes. So you can add, I've had corn in this, I've added nutmeg, I've added craisins. It just depends on what taste you really want. If you want it to be savory, I'm usually a savory girl when it comes to my salad. I don't like fruit in my salad. So I like my fruit with my fruit. So I don't usually do a fruit salad, but you could certainly add fruit if you wanted to add fruit to this as well. But kale is so diverse. As you can see, it almost, like I said, it resembles cooked food, even though it's not cooked. Any other questions? Yes.
Actually, young coconut.
Okay.
I never knew that there was that difference. When I bought a young coconut thinking it was going to be the hard brown shell. So, are you just drilling up a hole in the young coconut? It was over an hour before you can get to it. It's so hard. And I use 2 screwdrivers. What's your message?
So with the young coconut, I use a cleaver. You need a cleaver. And this isn't a good example, but you take the cleaver from where it is here. And on the young coconut, either you can shave off the skin to find the soft spots, because there's going to be eyes in the young coconut. So I just take and hack around it and then pull up. So I hack the eyes. Need one to show you. It's another class, guys. So I just hack in the eyes, and then I just take it and pull up. I'll do a video this weekend.
And when you said that you mixed coconut water, there's not enough water in that one, so you're adding additional coconut water?
There should be plenty of coconut water.
So it's that coconut. Okay.
You're actually probably going to have more coconut water in there than you need to make the yogurt.
And processed probiotics, put in the cabinet with just a cheese cloth over the top.
So take out the meat, use some of the water, blend it, then add your probiotic, stir it in, put it in the cabinet, and let it sit for a couple days.
With open air.
Yep.
Or cheese cloth.
Or until you, however fermented you want it to be. I usually let mine sit for 2 days.
Would you use coconut milk from a can to do that?
You could use coconut milk from a can. I've never done it with coconut milk from a can, but certainly you could do that. Yep, absolutely. Just add your probiotics and put it in the refrigerator. Make sure that it's just, there's no additives in it though, so that it ferments properly.
I'm sorry, I forgot. What's the name of the cafe that you went at?
Soul Delicious, S-O-L.
Is it like anywhere near here?
It is 2 hours away from here. So you're gonna come?
I really want to.
You'd like it! Any other questions?
And are you using just 1 capsule of probiotics per young?
Yes.
One.
Yes. Yes. Somebody else had their hand. Yes.
Did you say you have a business in Milwaukee as well?
I do. I own a franchise in Milwaukee at Brookfield Skirt Mall.
What's it called?
It's Broward. It's totally unrelated.
Okay.
It's an eyebrow threading franchise. Yes.
What kind of probiotic?
I use oh my gosh, what's the name of it? Honey, help me, I'm trying to blank. NCP is what I use.
What strains of bacteria are in it? Does it matter?
Yeah, well, they're all vegan strains. I think it's like 3.4 billion strains, and they're live culture, so you should keep them in the refrigerator so they'll get to your intestines. They're really good.
Yeah. He does all the research on all the supplements, so But NCG is the one that we use for that. But any good probiotic would work. So, what was the one that we used? Fluorescent? That would work. Any other questions? All right. So I'm going to move on to dinner. And with dinner, like I said, normally dinner is a quick salad for me. It's usually not anything heavy. And these days it's really not. It's nothing because I'm leaving the cafe late. So I don't even think I've cooked dinner at home in months since we've opened, which is crazy. So I'm going to show you a quick Alfredo sauce, and I'm actually going to make it raw. So this is how I would make a raw Alfredo first. Then I would take the raw Alfredo and simply cook it down. So with any nut, so I'm using a cashew base today. Normally I mix cashew and pine nuts because he's allergic to cashews. So his mouth is like itching even though he still wants it. So usually I do have pine nuts, have cashew. But you do want to make sure that you are rinsing or actually soaking your cashews, any nuts that you're using in any recipe. You want to make sure that you're soaking them overnight at least. Cashews you don't have to do so long, you can get away with 4 to 6 hours. Almonds is 12 hours. Every nut has their own amount of time that it should be soaked overnight. And basically what you're doing with that is you're releasing the enzyme inhibitor. Nuts have their own defense mechanism for being out in nature, right? So a lot of times people think they can't do nuts because they are allergic or they can't digest them. And so, but really not that you can't do nuts, is that there's that enzyme inhibitor that's on that nut that you can't digest. It's not the nut. So once you release that enzyme inhibitor, that makes the nut, makes the nut live and makes it more digestible for you. Can I get some water? And so normally what I do is I usually have one up soaking for my smoothie. So we make our almond milk fresh in house at the cafe. So we always have nuts soaking constantly. That way you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about it when you get up to make a smoothie in the morning. So it's just another tip to make it easy for you to eat it. And so I'm going to actually saute the so with the Alfredo sauce, it's going to be cashew based. I'm going to add everything that I need to that, so there's not going to be much seasoning. I'm going to actually season it as I blend it. So in the pan, I'm going to just add the mushrooms and some onion. And I'm using portobellos. And for me, a lot of times, even when I'm doing like a spaghetti or any type of pasta where I'm not using the meat, I simply just substitute the meat with mushrooms. And so for the cashew cheese, you basically want to start with a cashew milk. layering your flavors. And this is all about quick and easy. So I usually add a little bit of Himalayan as I'm sauteing up my veggies, usually a little bit of white pepper. And so the cashew milk, we want it to be fairly thick. So I'm going to add another cup. And usually it's 2 parts milk, 1 part water. But it varies depending on how thick or thin you like your milk. And the nice thing about cashew milk is you don't actually have to strain it. With any other nut, you have to strain it or milk it in order for it to not have grit or brine in it. So they're going to start passing out the Alfredo. So how's the pill salad? You want some? Good? I think they said it all.
What?
So,
Oh, yes.
here's about the thickness you want. Oh, vegetable. I didn't even that's kind of Alright, so here's about the thickness you want your cashew milk to be. So you don't want it to be runny like milk, you want it to be thick like a Alfredo sauce. Okay, so this is what we're going to use for our Alfredo. I'm going to add in, now I'm going to add in all my seasonings straight to this and blend it up and then pour it over in the mushrooms and onions. So I'm adding a little bit of lemon juice. These are acidic base.
Sure. I think the next couple you'll be interested
I'm going to add some miso, some mellow white miso. This is soybean paste. Sorry, I don't have measurements. I'm going to say this is probably a third of a cup. So not very much. And then I'll add a little bit of Himalayan salt to this. And a little bit of tamari. Instead of using soy sauce, use tamari. And the Alfredo is actually gluten-free for you gluten-free people. No, it's not. I put soy sauce in that batch. Sorry. And so to this, I'm going to add my knock chicken. And I use, today I'm using Beyond Meat. You could use any chicken substitute you like. I prefer Beyond Meat. And to that, a lot of times with the Alfredo, what I'll add, you want to add in your veggies. Just steam some broccoli and put that on top of it, or some asparagus. I usually do an asparagus Alfredo. It's normally what I do. It's super quick, super easy, which is what you want it to be, because when it becomes a chore, because we're all busy, when it becomes a chore, then we choose not to do it. Or we find things in a box, or we find the fast food place, or we find the things that aren't that good for us, right? So as this is blending, there it goes. I'm going to add in up to cinnamon. So we use the multiplier. And you're doing this because you want it to be thick. So I'm going to add olive oil as it's blending. Oops. Let that simmer. Add in my other part. One thing I forgot to add, which I add, is nutritional yeast, but again, you can also just do pineapple.
Your lines.
Probably need that. Yeah, yeah. That's quick, easy veganism. So what you want to do is you want to prepare. So you want to make sure that you are preparing your meals for the week, thinking ahead for your week. 2, you want to prep ahead. So as soon as you get from the farmer's market, go ahead, chop that stuff up, get it all washed off, and immediately get it in your containers. I usually use these. My chicken for the week. So it's already done. If I want to make a chicken salad, whatever I want to do, it's ready to go.
What kind of noodles are you using?
I use the brown rice noodle for that. And I usually, at home, I do also use one noodle because that's also gluten-free, but it tastes really similar. And then you want to make sure, join your local CSA, join your, look for co-ops, ask around at your grocer for their produce that's going bad. Usually they talk to them about getting cheap produce, right? So you want this to be cost effective because you can hear so much about being vegan, being organic, it's really expensive, but it doesn't have to. So you either pay up front or you pay on the back end. So I'm choosing to pay up front. A better option than paying on the back end. Chemo and radiation and all that. And not to mention not having good health is a lot more costly than actually being buying organic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else? Any questions?
Somebody new.
I live in Kenosha, and so it was one of those things where I really wasn't looking for it. I went in, I looked at a building because it was holiday and saying,
Right.
Now I was interested in the ship, and so I went to see it in July, and we opened in September. So we were like, it was like either do it now or I'm never going to do it. And I'm a master life coach, and I called my life coach, and I said, I have this thing, I don't know if I really, she's like, well, what's the worst thing that you have? I was like, I lose my life savings. She's like, right. But you still have, you have degrees, you can go back to work, you can go back. So I was like, that's true. So I took a step on faith. We're doing promotions because I have 2 years, I didn't want to try.
There might be more forks, like other, like farther into the video, like over there, by the other vendors.
So we are looking for franchise. So what I'll do is I will post it on Facebook. So like my Facebook page. I'll post it on Facebook and you'll have it. Does that work? Then you know how old I was. So I've been vegetarian. I was vegan for 15, 17 years. Vegan for the last, this year will be 6. So since I started my journey when I was 20. Here I go. It is totally different from the Yeah, brewer's yeast is not, it's good for you, very different taste. So, yeah, make sure you're using nutritional yeast and not brewer's yeast.
Where is your restaurant located in Kenosha?
It is on 52nd Street, close to Sherman Road. Right by the metro. There you go.
Okay.
We have cars up here as well. We have cars.
Any other questions? Yes. I'm an author, but what the book that I authored or co-authored is totally not related to cooking. It is all about manifesting your dreams. I'm working on a cookbook. Well, actually, it's a book. It's about diet and eating. It is titled, So What the Hell Can I Eat? So that will be coming out probably at the end of this year. I'm also working on a 6 weeks to a healthier you, which can be offered through part-time. I will have it as an online course, hopefully by the end of the year. So that's basically, you pick what you want. If you want to go 6 weeks to become a healthier you, that's fine. I'm meeting everybody where they are. Everybody's not going to be vegan. Everybody's not going to be vegetarian. Everybody's not going to be raw. But the goal is for us all to be healthy, right?